Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new episode of the No I.D podcast. I have no other than a good guy, professional wrestler, host of Leveling Up with Banks podcast, Benjamin Banks.
What's good, bro? How you doing, man?
I'm all right. How you feeling, bro?
I'm doing pretty good, bro. And just to rewind a little bit, it's leveling up with Benjamin Banks, man. You got to say the full name. It's like a tribe called Quest. You got to say the full name. Thanks for having me up here, man. How you doing today?
I'm good, bro. How you, man? I appreciate you coming up here.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm doing all right, man. I'm just chilling. I'm watching Avatar: The Last Airbender right now. That's what's the word? Uh, that's what's being hyped up right now on social media, and it's just one of them things where it's like I tried to get into it when I was younger and I couldn't get into it, but now that I got back into like watching animation and whatnot, I'm just like, okay, I'll give it a try, and it's pretty good. I'm almost done with season 2, and then there's one more season, and I'll be done with it.
That's what's up, man. So I wanted you up here, man, because you're my first professional wrestler on this No ID podcast. Okay,
All right.
first one and the only wrestler that I know in this 757 area. So, what made you get into professional wrestling?
Well, it goes all the way back to when I was in high school. Um, I always wanted to be a professional wrestler. It's crazy because I want to say what I was a freshman. I was a freshman in high school going to Lake Taylor, and it just dawned upon me. I was just like, you know what? I want to be a professional wrestler. I had a gym coach. His name was Coach Vesparelli, and we used to joke around all the time. And I used to tell him that one day I was going to go to the WWE, and when I make it to the WWE, I was going to invite him into the ring with me, just like how you had the "This Is Your Life" with The Rock, where Mankind was inviting all of The Rock's former acquaintances that he'd had in life. And I was going to do the same thing. And I was going to invite Coach Vesparelli into the ring, and I was going to knock him out with a steel chair. But yeah, it's crazy too because of Coach Vesparelli. I remember one day it was like after gym class. I just told him, I was just like, you know what, let's wrestle. And then we started wrestling outside of the locker room, and I had him beat. And the only reason why he was able to get out of the hold that I had him in was because some of the football players came and helped him. And remember that scene in Fast and Furious where Brian, he told Dom, he was just like, I had you this close. And
Yeah.
then Dom was just like, this close? Like, it doesn't matter if you didn't have me at all. That's pretty much what happened. I had him, but he had to get help from the football players. But yeah, man, it's just there was always something about wrestling that just drew me in as a kid, just by what was going on in the ring, what was going on backstage, where the wrestlers were cutting promos and whatnot. Like one of my favorite wrestlers growing up was Macho Man Randy Savage. He was my favorite wrestler when I was a kid, and when I got older and I was still a kid because I had got out of wrestling. The Rock is the wrestler who brought me back into it because of his promo skills. He was so entertaining in the ring. And, as a kid, I was just like, man, if I'm going to be a wrestler, I always want to be like The Rock. And when I became a teenager, that was when I had, made the plan that I'm going to be a professional wrestler. And some people, I'll say it's a lot easier to get into wrestling now than it was when I first got into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I started wrestling back in 2012. So yeah, so it's 8 years now. And you know, I graduated in 2007, and like there really weren't a lot of wrestling schools here in the area when I graduated, but there were schools in Virginia. There just weren't any here where I lived at. At least I didn't know that there were any wrestling schools until I got into the business and I found out that there actually was a school here in Virginia. But I'll say it's kind of like Fight Club, where it's like you're only going to find out about it is if you know somebody that knows somebody that knows about it, if that makes any sense. So yeah, so after I graduated high school, I never I never stopped dreaming of becoming a professional wrestler, and I feel like that's something that, if you have dreams to do something, that you should never let go of those dreams, because if you do let go of them, then you'll never know if you'll be able to do what you want to do in life. Same thing with doing stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy was a dream of mine that I had as well, and I was able to do stand-up comedy because of professional wrestling. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that I owe to professional wrestling. But yeah, so graduated 2007, found out about this promotion out Virginia Beach called Southside Pro Wrestling in 2012, and I went to a show. I met Rikishi. You remember Rikishi, right? With Too
Stink
Cool.
face, yeah.
Yeah, the stink face. Yeah, I met him at the show and everything, and I had told him that he was one of my heroes growing up because he was a big dude. And for everybody that's listened to this episode, I'm a big guy. I'm not as big as I used to be, but I'm still a big guy. And I just told him, I was just like, you were somebody who I looked up to when I was younger because you were a big guy. It's like you was beating everybody in the ring and whatnot, and you had some killer dance moves. Now, I'm not the best dancer or anything, but I could hope that one day I'll be able to dance like Rikishi. But I met him, and then the rest was history. And now I've been wrestling now for 8 years now.
That's what's up though. Like people don't realize like the connection between comedy and between wrestling. Like people didn't realize like Patrice O'Neal was actually came up with the Mark Henry sexual chocolate character and how he was writing. Freddie Prinze Jr. was actually a writer for WWE. A
Yep.
lot of us are actually writers for though the comedians that you see, not comedians, the wrestlers that you see. So that's pretty dope. And to piggyback off your favorite wrestler, my favorite wrestler, hands down of all time, was Ric Flair.
Woo!
Woo-hoo. I wish he would have stopped, but but it was my favorite. He was one that I was drawn to, and I realized it. And for people that don't realize this too, I met Benjamin Banks at Tanner Creek Elementary School, right?
Yes, sir.
Lost connection, got back in contact. I saw he was wrestling. I said, dang, that's dope. I wanted to do it too, but I was like, nah, I ain't cut for that. But I salute this man for doing this, man. And I
Thank you.
noticed that you got a tag Golden Pinky Society. I'm not gonna say tag team because it seems like the society has stretched. You have captured the attention and hearts of a lot of people from what I've seen right now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the Golden Pinky Society, it is a tag team, but like you said, it is. I get, like you said, it's a society. Like we have so many fans who root for us and have our backs and everything like that. But yeah, man, I love the Golden Pinky Society. It's a tag team with me and my tag partner Diamond Victor Griff, who has also been wrestling for quite a while too. And what's crazy about the Golden Pinky Society is the first wrestling match that I went to was the show that Rikishi was at for Southside Pro Wrestling, and I was sitting in the crowd, and Diamond Victor Griff, he was wrestling that night in one of the matches, and I joke with him about this, but I'm just like, bro, like, how crazy is it that I was sitting in the crowd watching you wrestle, and years later, now we're a tag team that has traveled up and down the Mid-Atlantic area. We've wrestled in Florida. Uh, we actually won the Comedy SmackDown tag team titles at the Virginia Beach Farm, which is really cool because we are the first and only professional wrestlers to win the Comedy SmackDown tag titles. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
that's an accomplishment within itself because it's like how many people can say that that they're actually wrestlers who won tag titles for a wrestling themed comedy show. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be charismatic and you gotta be funny if you're gonna step into the comedy ring, because if you're not, man, you'll get eaten alive.
Yeah, I've experienced that. I've only been doing comedy a year, so I've experienced that. You will get eaten if you don't have that swag behind you. You know what I'm saying? And it,
Mm-hmm.
like I was saying, man, it takes a lot of guts, man, for what you guys are doing, man. Like I've went to one Southside Pro Wrestling show before, and the last wrestling event that I actually went to WWE wise was the episode that CM Punk actually came back as the
Yeah, that
WWE.
was at Hampton Coliseum. I
Yep.
was there. I was there at that show. Was I? No, I wasn't wrestling yet. No, what? Yeah, I wasn't wrestling at that
It's
time because I think
2011.
2011, 2000. I thought it was 2012. Yeah, 2011. Yeah, you're right. 2011.
Yeah, I'm a wrestling historian too. I
Okay.
okay. I watch it. I love it. I mean, what is it? Monday, Raw. Tuesday, I may watch WWE app. Wednesday, of course, it's like NXT and AEW. I was a
AEW.
big TNA fan, Impact, but I don't have the Access channel. So what do you see as far as wrestling going in towards the future? Because I'm being honest, I was happy Kofi Kingston won the belt at WrestleMania. What was it, last year?
Yep.
I saw Kofi Kingston win, of course, The Rock, Booker T, Ron Simmons. Um, I
Mark
see
Henry.
Mark
Yeah.
Henry. Can't forget about World's Strongest Man. In
Bobby
TNA,
Lashley.
I saw Moose. He self-proclaimed TNA Impact Champion. So, I, what do you see yourself? You see yourself potentially going towards being World Heavyweight Champion, or we want to stay like a tag team, or?
Honestly, it's like I'm loving doing the tag team stuff right now because I get to team up with one of my best friends and we get to travel the world together and everything like that. But if the opportunity ever came where I could go after a heavyweight title in a company, then of course I would go for it, and I would support him if he wanted to do that as well. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what a tag team does for each other. They support one another and the decisions that they make, and that's just what a real tag team is. But yeah, like I would love to go after a heavyweight title in the company if the opportunity arose.
Okay. So, like, what is your ultimate goal now as far as wrestling? I know you got with you and Victor Grange, your guys are turning it up. Like I
Thank
said,
you.
y'all guys are turning it up. I've seen the clips on YouTube. I'm a big supporter. I know I ain't got a Golden Pinky Society shirt yet. I'm just gonna be honest.
You got to get one, man. You got to get one. We about to start a pro wrestling tees, and we're gonna have some of our old shirts up there and some new ones. So yeah,
Have you ever been in the ring with any of the wrestlers that we grew up with before?
yeah. And Vanguard Championship Wrestling, I teamed up with Mr. Ass Billy Gunn. That was a part of D Generation X. That was pretty cool. Uh, I with the Golden Pinker Society, we faced Elijah Burke, the Pope. I don't know if you remember him.
I sure do.
Okay, yeah, we wrestled him. This was in Florida. Um, who else have I worked with? Like I've shared locker rooms with some of the guys that you mentioned. Um, oh, I did something with Ron Simmons at Vanguard Championship Wrestling too, where I had a manager. His name was Jerry Stephanesis, and we were feuding with this guy. His name was Livid the Clown. And what happened was I had won the match that I was in for the Lutz Cup. I want to say it was the 2016 Lutz Cup. And I had won the qualifying match to move on. And what happened was we were on stage celebrating, and Livid the Clown was behind us, and he had a pie in his hand. And Jerry turned around and he got smacked in the face with the pie. And all I felt was just a bunch of stuff that just hit my back. And I had turned around and Jerry was down on his knees. His face was covered with pie and everything. And then Ron Simmons comes out on stage and like he's looking at us. He's looking at everybody in the crowd. And I'm just like, yo, it is not what you think. It is not what you think. And he looked at us. He looked at Jerry's face. He looked at Livid the Clown. He looked at the crowd. And he said, damn. And I was like, come on, man. Like, yeah, that was a sweet moment in my wrestling career that I got to do something with Ron Simmons. I haven't gotten to do anything with Teddy Long before, but I have met him on several occasions. Holla, 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 holla.
Oh man, Teddy Long his journey was crazy. Like I said, I could talk wrestling all day because that's what I for everybody. I'm a big wrestling fan. WWF, WWE, WCW, TNA, New Japan, Ring of Honor, all that stuff is a passion of mine. I enjoy watching it, and I know a lot of people say out there it's fake, but I'm going to say it is not fake at all.
It is
Can,
not.
you can really
It is
get people
not.
there, and you're getting trained on how to take these bumps, man. Have you ever experienced? What do you say to those people that have said that wrestling is fake?
If somebody tells me that wrestling is fake, I ask them, can I smack them in the face? And they always say no. Why do you want to smack me in the face? And I'm just like, because if I smack you in the face, then that right there just shows you how real it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, are you gonna let me smack you in the face or not? They always say no. Uh, it's like another thing is too, people they love watching reality television shows and stuff like that, and it's just like that is scripted too. I won't say that it's fake, but the matches they are predetermined, but everything that we do in the ring is real. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So it's like when we take those bumps and we get bruised and everything, like we are professional stuntmen. We are the guys that you're seeing in live action. When you see stuntmen in movies, you really don't see the stuntmen because of different camera angles and stuff like that. But when you come to a wrestling show, you're seeing us do the stunts in real time. Like you're seeing people get chopped, you're seeing people get smacked in the face, you're seeing people get slammed and all that other stuff. It's like don't don't kill the vibe and take the enjoyment from somebody who loves wrestling just because you don't love it. Because when you go and watch Scarface, you know that the cocaine that Tony Montana is snorting in the movie, it's not real.
Right.
But when you're watching the movie, you're just like, yeah, man, he's doing coke right now. When you watch a movie and you see Denzel Washington in Training Day smoke some weed, you know that it's not real, but it's like the image of, okay, this is what he's doing. How would you feel if I was sitting in the theater next to you? I'm like, oh yeah, you know that he really didn't get killed in the movie, right? You know he's still alive. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So it's like, don't be a Buzz Killington just because you don't like something that somebody else
Buzz Killington, I'm about to bat that one off for you, bro.
likes.
I'm
Go
about
ahead, bro.
to bat that one off for you, man. I'm gonna really have one to bat it off to you. Um, so I'm not gonna keep Benjamin Banks for long, man. What do you have? I know with this pandemic and everything going on, how is that affecting everything? Like what strides that have you made? Like, I know I see you online, bro. Salute, man. The weight loss journey, I gotta salute you on that one, bro.
Thank
And you
you.
seem like you're real cool. Like you just chill guy. Every picture I see, you got the pinkies up, man. I put my pinky up with you. You know what I mean? So
Put the
I'm a
pinky up and
proud.
smiling.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Golden Pinky Society. I'm a fan of the Benjamin Banks brand. That's something
Thank
that's
you.
immaculate, man. So, what? I'm just gonna ask the magic question. Monday Night Wars. Okay,
Uh-huh.
yeah, Raw's War, the Attitude Era, and then you had WCW Monday Night Nitro. Which
Hmm.
one were you more drawn to? I know Macho Man was your favorite wrestler, but which one are you more drawn to?
I was more drawn to Monday Night Raw. It's like I said, when I was a kid, uh, Macho Man was my favorite wrestler. But then it's like I got out of wrestling. Like Macho Man, Hulk Hogan, the Million Dollar Man. Like I liked all of those guys, but Macho Man was my favorite. And I got out of wrestling, and like I said, The Rock is what brought me back into wrestling. So I was watching Monday Night Raw every Monday, and whenever my cousins would try to get me to watch WCW Monday Nitro, it's like I just be like, turn the channel. I don't care. I just want to see The Rock. I want to see Stone Cold. I want to see Mick Foley. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like that was me. What about you?
Uh, um, I was more WCW Nitro, and the reason being is I had a strict bedtime at 9 o'clock, and Raw's War came on at 9 o'clock. But of course, to be honest, when it came to the wars, I was more of an ECW fan.
Mm,
Sabu,
ECW.
RBD,
Hmm.
Taz, Snowman, Tommy Dreamer, Beulah McGillicuddy.
Hmm.
Uh, those were my
Sandman, Raven.
Raven, all of those, like before they even got to some of those got to WCW and WWE. those were my guys, man. Those Sabu, homicidal, genocidal, suicidal, Sabu. Like I would just love to see a Sabu match. And I remember it would come on like it was just like highlights, but it would come on like Saturdays at like 7.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my pops would just watch it. I'd be locked in for a whole hour, and they weren't doing that, but we're playing the same clip that they didn't play 10 minutes ago. But I was just hooked. And when it came to
Mm-hmm.
Monday Night Wrestling, when it came to Raw, of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I put up the middle fingers.
Oh,
I was
hell
going,
yeah.
hell yeah, yeah, yeah. I was actually at the event where DX went to the Norfolk Scope.
I
The
know what you're
invasion.
talking about.
The invasion, yeah. And my grandfather worked at the school. We were actually at the Hampton Coliseum watching Monday Night Wrestling. My grandfather,
Uh-huh.
this is his claim to fame, rest his soul. He was the actual one that pulled down the gate when he saw DX coming in a little tank. So that was my
Bro.
claim to fame for that one. But WCW was dope. It just, in my opinion, they just got this. They didn't build up new talent.
Exactly. That was the problem. And half of those guys ended up going over to WWF because WWE now, for those that don't know, it used to be called WWF. Um, they were making new stars, whereas WCW was just focusing on bringing in all the big names of the 80s and 90s and whatnot. And that can only get you so far. And it was bad booking and bad decisions and stuff like that ended up making the company go under. But yeah, I mean WWE, they won the war and they're still around. They're still around to this day. And what's crazy too about that door that you're talking about, I remember one time I had to go to the scope, and I went to that door and I was just like, oh snap, like this is the same door that DX came up to. And I was very excited about that. The only difference between DX and me is that I was actually able to get in though. So when I got inside, I was just like, so this is what it looks like in here. Like, I wonder who was waiting at the bottom of the garage door, like what WCW wrestlers were there.
Yeah, man. That was that experience is nothing like going to a live event, you know, and seeing it.
Yeah.
Like when the CM Punk angle came back in 2011, you talking about like a pop, like just to hear
Mm-hmm.
the living color coming out, that was
Yeah.
so dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Because nobody knew who it was. Like everyone, I think what's crazy about that is we were actually getting ready to go, and as soon as we were walking up the steps, all of a sudden you just hear Cult of Personality playing. It's just like, who is this? And then CM Punk comes out on stage, and it's like, oh snap! And then that's what set up for SummerSlam that year between John Cena and CM Punk for the WWE title.
yeah, like
No, was it SummerSlam? Oh no, I'm sorry. CM Punk won the title at SummerSlam. I can't remember.
he wanted that Money in the Bank.
There we go. He won it at Money in the Bank. They had the match at SummerSlam. That's right. That's right.
And I replay that clip all the time, man. Like what's crazy is when I replayed it, you can actually see John Cena's mouth. Is that Alberto? Like he thought that was Del Rio about to come out there and try and cash in his money in his bank. And me and my boy, we were just sitting there like, what's going on? And the next thing you know, we see CM Punk. You talking about like a pop? I screamed like I was a 16-year-old white girl. Like I was
Oh
just
God.
excited to see. Like I was really excited because at that time he was edgy. He had dropped the pipe bomb, and I had followed him from Ring of Honor to his early days in Impact TNA, which is now
Yeah.
Impact, and
Yeah.
then FCW all the way up until his debut with ECW, the WWE version, not the one that I grew up on. We ain't gonna
Yeah.
get into it. Yeah.
I
So
think I think for me, like one of my favorite moments was when The Rock came back in what was it, 2011 or 2012? I think it was 2000. I think it was 2011 he came back. Yeah, it was 2011. And I remember I was falling asleep in bed, and it's like all of a sudden I heard his music play on the TV, and I was just like, oh snap! And like I got up out of bed, like I was screaming and everything. I couldn't believe that The Rock was back, and I had watched WrestleMania that year, and every year when WrestleMania happens, they always say, and it was 2011. I remember now. Every year at WrestleMania, they always announce where it's going to be at next, and it was WrestleMania 27, and for WrestleMania 28. No, was it? No. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me, Lord. It was WrestleMania 28, and they had announced that next year it was going to be WrestleMania 29 was going to be in New Jersey. And I remember I was watching it with my friends, and I was just like, I'm going to WrestleMania next year because I had always wanted to go to a WrestleMania. And the crazy thing is with me saying that, within that same year, that's when I started my journey on becoming a professional wrestler. In that same year, I still ended up going to WrestleMania that year to check it out. And I remember when I was sitting there in the crowd watching the show, I had told myself that this is the last WrestleMania that I'm going to go to, because the next time I come to WrestleMania, I actually want to be in the ring. And that is a goal that I have kept ever since that day. Like, I'll still go to WWE shows if somebody invites me, meaning that, I don't pay for the ticket myself and whatnot. But yeah, like, I haven't paid for a ticket at all, because it's like, if I want to be at a WWE show, it's like I actually want to be on the show or doing something in a WWE ring or on the outside or something. I don't want to go there as a fan. I want to go there as a place of employment. And everybody always says that WWE is, the end all be all for them for their goal and being a professional wrestler. But for me, my goal is to wrestle in Japan. I've always wanted to go to Japan ever since I was a kid. I love anime. I'm a huge nerd. I'm a blurred, if you want to say that word. And just being able to wrestle in Japan and going over there as a nerd over here in America, and then like being over there where anime and most video games are made at and whatnot, bro, it'd be a dream come true.
I man, salute. You know, so I want to see you do it. That way, I can say that I knew you. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
When I see you in WWE, wrestling WrestleMania, or
Yeah.
going to New Japan Wrestling, or what is
Mm-hmm.
it? Yeah, I want to see you do it,
They
bro.
got All Japan Pro Wrestling, New Japan. They got Wrestle. They got a couple. They got a couple of them over there. Excuse me.
Yeah, you see a lot of people doing the crossover from like Japan over to WWE or vice versa. You saw Shinsuke Nakamura
Yep.
make a name over there from IWGP Intercontinental Champion. You saw
Mm-hmm.
Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, Bill Goldberg go over there. You see a lot
AJ
of
Styles, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero. It's like all the wrestling greats have all gone to Japan, made a name for themselves, and then came back over here to America. And I mean, they didn't went to Mexico, they didn't went to Canada. It's like you should just be able to, just travel everywhere that you want to go if you're really trying to do this. Like, if there's a wrestling promotion somewhere, like you need to try and get to go. Like, I have my passport now, and hopefully when this pandemic is over, which I don't see it being anytime soon. Hopefully, I can wrestle in another country, man. It's like I will say that I definitely miss wrestling. I miss interacting with the fans in person. It's cool talking on social media and whatnot, but it's not the same feeling as actually going to a show and having somebody come up to you and tell you a story on how you motivated them or you inspired them to do something. It's just like how you were saying earlier. I used to be 456 pounds, and I took the ball and I ran with it, and I ended up losing 200 pounds. I reached my weight loss goal and whatnot. And it's like how I said earlier, if you set goals for yourself and you don't lose sight of the goals that you set for yourself, you'll be able to accomplish them. You just can't lose sight, and you can't lose hope. You always got to have hope, because once you lose that hope, then you can just kiss that dream and go goodbye.
facts, facts. That's actually wise words to live by. So I'm gonna end it just like this. I ask everybody that comes on this show your top 5 comedians, dead or alive, any order with a starting 6 man.
So top five, but start with the six man,
With a
like the
six.
honorary mention.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coming off the bench.
Uh,
Yeah.
all right, honorary mention will be Ralphie May. Rest in peace. Uh, top five in no particular order will be Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, uh, Bernie Mac, Patrice O'Neal, and what is his name? I'm so sorry. What is his name? Oh my god! It's like I listened to this dude. So, Aries Spears. There we go.
Mm.
Yep.
That's a good list right there.
Thank
Mine,
you.
Ali Sadiq. My list changes every episode. Ali Sadiq, Dave Chappelle, D.L. Hughley, Tony Woods. I'm gonna say comedian C.P. Powell. That's my sixth man.
Okay.
And
That's a
Kevin.
pretty good list.
Yeah.
I
What
mean,
can we?
there's. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro. My bad. My bad.
No, I was just gonna say, there's plenty of other comedians too that I love. Like, if I had to go with top five and then number six being honorary mention, like that's who I could listen to if I'm on a wrestling road trip and it's a 5 hour drive somewhere. I can listen to their albums and just laugh the whole way there to my destination.
So, what can they follow you at, man? What can they reach you at on social media, man?
I love this part. All right, you can find me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, at @KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. And you can look me up on Facebook by typing in Benjamin Banks, and I should be the first person to appear. If not, then I need to talk with Mr. Zuckerberg. I'm also on MySpace. If you still use that, just put in @KingBenji_Banks. And then be sure to look up my podcast, Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, by typing in @LevelingUpBanks. That's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And that's all of my stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm always just used to just putting myself over. Make sure you follow my tag team, the Golden Pinky Society, at Golden Pinky Society on Instagram and Facebook. And then on Twitter, it's at Golden Pinky S. And that's all of my social media accounts.
Cool. You can follow me on everything at Comedian Rome. I keep it simple. The podcast has an IG page. It's No I.D Podcast. Cameo, you can follow me on Comedian Rome, and YouTube, Comedian Rome. This is dope. Like I said, you're the first professional wrestler I've had on the air. Pinkies up. I will say this, I remember we used to talk about being the Power Rangers, and now I'm a comedian, you're a professional wrestler.
Bro, I'm telling you, man, it's like if you say that you're gonna do something, man, just stick with it. Cause it's like I always like back then I always used to talk about wrestling, and to actually, do it and then like, be on TV, be on the newspaper, and then to even get into stand-up comedy, like my career has been awesome, man.
Yeah, bro. I see nothing but great things, man. I wish you and your partner, man, and everybody that's involved into your projects, your family, everybody, man, nothing but the best of success, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you. I
When I
appreciate it,
tune
yo.
into the WWE app next, which I'm about to do in a little bit, I'll be prepped up to see Benjamin Banks headline up to go to the Pinky Society. I want that Pinky Society bad.
Yeah, hopefully one day, man. Just can't lose hope, and just got to keep on chasing the dream. That's all I can do right now. Just keep setting them goals and then keep on chasing them.
That's it, bro. I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate you, Benjamin Banks. We
Thank you.
signing off on the No I.D podcast, brother. Appreciate you, man. Be safe, all right?
All right, you do the same. Peace.
Peace.